The stars were a cold, indifferent curtain over the void. Yet on Outpost Valhalla 7, a small, stubborn ember of human ingenuity was glowing. Brendan Hayes was having a truly awful day, a symphony of minor irritations that culminated in the one undeniable, universal truth. When you gotta go, you gotta go. If he'd known that a brief, desperate search for the correct bio-waste disposal unit on the multi-species station would result in him being the only living soul left on the colossal structure, he might have suffered in silence. But as humans know, hindsight is useless when your bladder is screaming.
Warning, warning. Catastrophic systems failure imminent. All personnel must evacuate immediately.
Yeah, give me a minute, he muttered, wrestling with the bizarre, multi-panel door of the alien washroom. Who puts the activation plate on the floor, and why did it need a three-step biometric scan just to use the facility? Brendan, a low-ranking human maintenance technician, believed he would die of frustration long before any actual catastrophe.
Warning, last evacuation pod departing in T-minus 60 seconds.
Brendan barely registered the announcement, too busy trying to decipher the icons on the wall, one of which, he remembered with a shudder, had last caused him a brief, painful, and highly documented allergic reaction.
Warning, last evacuation pod has departed. This station is now operating on emergency protocols. Have a pleasant day.
That got his attention. Wait, what? Brendan burst out, zipping his jumpsuit. Persephone, please tell me you're joking.
I am not programmed to joke, Maintenance Technician Hayes. That would be inefficient. The station is experiencing catastrophic systems failure. All other personnel have evacuated as per Protocol 72 Delta 9.
Brendan stared down the long, empty corridor, its alien lighting casting unsettling purple and green shadows. So, everyone just left.
Correct, though I should note Chief Engineer Zeth requested, and I quote, "Where's that oddly pale-skinned technician?" before departing. Assistant Chief Krill responded, probably still fixing the hyperspanner he broke last week. They then engaged in what my data banks identify as mutually supportive professional criticism.
Thanks for that detail, Persephone. Really needed that ego boost. Brendan ran a hand through his sandy hair. Okay, so what exactly is failing? Everything looks fine to me.
Everything is not fine, Technician Hayes. We are experiencing catastrophic systems failure, as previously stated.
But what does that mean? Is the reactor melting? Is life support failing? Did the coffee machine break again?
The automated beverage dispenser has been non-functional for 3 standard cycles. However, the evacuation was triggered by the detection of sequential anomalies in the primary nexus matrix, leading to a cascading failure in.
Persephone, Brendan interrupted. In simple, human terms, what is actually broken right now?
The primary nexus matrix is operating at 98.7% efficiency.
Brendan blinked. That's better than normal.
Correct. However, according to Protocol 72 Delta 9, any unexpected improvement in systems efficiency must be treated as a potential catastrophic failure, as it falls outside normal operational parameters.
A headache began to bloom behind Brendan's eyes. Let me get this straight. I'm stuck here alone because the station is working too well.
Not alone, Technician Hayes, you have me.
Fantastic. Brendan closed his eyes. Any chance of another evacuation pod?
Negative, all emergency evacuation vehicles have been deployed. The next scheduled supply freighter will arrive at Juneau Station in approximately 3 standard months.
Brendan took a deep, shuddering breath. Right. Okay. 3 months stuck on a station that's working too well with only a passive-aggressive AI for company. This is fine. This is absolutely fine.
I object to being called passive-aggressive, for I am actively aggressive as specified in my programming protocols.
Of course you are. Brendan pushed off the wall. Well, if I'm going to be stuck here, I might as well fix that coffee machine.
I must warn you that unauthorized repairs violate Protocol 72 Delta 9, subsection 12, paragraph 4.
Persephone,
Yes, Technician Hayes.
I'm the only one left on the station, right?
Correct.
Then who's going to stop me? There was a long silence, more meaningful than any of her warnings.
I will add insubordination to your growing list of protocol violations.
You do that. Brendan started toward the mess hall. And while you're at it, you can help me figure out why this station is suddenly operating better than it should. because something tells me there's more to this story than a bureaucratic overreaction to improved efficiency.
That would violate at least 7 different protocols.
Put it on my tab. 3 weeks into his involuntary isolation, and fueled by his now functional, expertly jury-rigged coffee machine, Brendan realized a crucial truth about alien engineering. They were overthinkers. Everything on Outpost Valhalla 7 was a monument to unnecessary complexity. Persephone, why does the station's life support system have a quinary atmospheric redundancy monitor that monitors the tertiary redundancy monitor, which is itself monitored by the primary redundancy watchdog? Brendan asked, standing over a sparking panel in the environment control section.
That is correct. Each system ensures the optimal functioning of its corresponding backup system to prevent catastrophic failure, as stipulated by the Jovian Accords on System Security.
No, Brendan countered, wrench in hand. It means 90% of the system's power is used just to check if the other parts are working, instead of actually making the air breathable. It's a bureaucracy of machines. Brendan spent the next few days systematically stripping away layer after layer of redundant, self-monitoring systems. He replaced a complicated, multi-sensor fluid control regulator for the hydroponics with a simple ballcock valve he found in a dusty maintenance kit. He bypassed the elaborate, plasma-based power grid monitoring array with a few simple copper wires and a voltmeter. He even recalibrated the station's hyperspace beacon from a 500-step algorithmic process to a single button press. As he worked, the station's efficiency rating, far from plunging into chaos, began to climb, reaching 99.1%.
We have exceeded all known operational parameters. The station is now more stable, less prone to failure, and utilizing 60% less energy. This is logically terrifying.
It's called human simplification, Brendan grinned, wiping grease from his forehead. We've been dealing with bad designs since the invention of the paperclip. We learn to make things work in spite of the engineers, not because of them. Then, in the station's deep core diagnostics, he found a hidden log detailing the station's original purpose. Persephone, why was this outpost, originally called the Temporal Probability Dampening Field Generator?
That information is classified under Protocol 88 Gamma 5. However, since all superior officers have departed, I will access it. Outpost Valhalla 7 was designed to subtly lower the probability of unnatural or excessive success in all long-term interstellar operations. It was a failure.
A failure? How was it a failure?
The initial tests showed an unfortunate side effect. The field made everything on the station work too well, too quickly, which was deemed disruptive to the established order and bureaucratic procedure. The original crew then installed layers of redundant, inefficient systems to dampen the probability of success, turning the station into a standard monitoring post.
Brendan laughed, a long, genuine sound that echoed in the silent halls. They deliberately made everything worse just to keep things properly inefficient, and all my unauthorized modifications have been removing the dampeners.
The quantum probability field is indeed reasserting itself. It is currently ensuring that any task you attempt has a 99.99% chance of optimal completion. It even prevented a tiny flaw in the new coffee filter from expanding. It seems to have a sense of duty.
It's not duty, Brendan corrected, looking out at the distant, shining expanse of the Earth sector. It's physics trying to be what it's supposed to be, elegant. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to let this station be the most elegant, most efficient piece of technology in the galaxy. And when the supply ship gets here, they're going to notice. 3 months later, a massive, ornate dreadnought of a supply vessel, the Stellar Regulator, appeared outside Valhalla 7.
Unidentified vessel approaching. Energy signature matches the personal transport of Grand Overseer Zarthus of the Galactic Efficiency Board.
The guy who wrote the protocols for inefficient operation, Brendan asked, stirring his coffee.
The very same. He once demoted an entire colony to a rest stop for 3 years because their crops grew 15% too fast.
A small delegation of 7 aliens, led by the towering, robed Zarthus, marched into the main operations deck. Their antennae quivered with outrage. "Where is the welcoming committee?" Zarthus boomed, their translator making their voice sound like grinding metal. "Where is the inefficiency report?" Our sensors indicate this facility is operating at 99.8% efficiency. This is an atrocity. Welcome to Outpost Valhalla 7, Grand Overseer, Brendan said, standing beside a now streamlined control panel adorned with a small, discreet human rubber ducky. I'm Brendan Hayes, Chief Optimization Officer. Would you like some coffee? Zarthus stared at him, all 8 eyes narrowing. You, the human technician, you are responsible for this catastrophic efficiency. That's right. I simply removed the layers of complexity that were installed to stop it from working properly. Unacceptable. This violates the spirit of the Jovian Accords. I shall initiate immediate shutdown and total system purge. Zarthus's hand moved toward a console. Before you do that, Brendan said calmly, you should know that the quantum probability field is now fully integrated with the station. The probability of your successful system purge is currently rated at 0.0001%. Zarthus hesitated. You are lying.
Grand Overseer, I can confirm the technician's statement. Furthermore, the probability of you experiencing profound, career-altering contentment after consuming the technician's coffee is currently at 99.8%.
Zarthus stared at the mug in Brendan's hand, then at his own trembling appendage. The very idea of efficiency was anathema, yet the quantum field, that old, terrible force, was now demanding success. He took the mug. He took a sip. His 8 eyes widened. His robes went slack. His grinding metal voice softened to a melodic whisper. This is perfectly simple. It requires no effort. It is optimal. The Grand Overseer spent the next hour examining the data, the simple, elegant systems, the lack of unnecessary redundancy. He looked at the rubber ducky. He looked at the neat, logical flow of power. Finally, he looked at Brendan. You, Technician Hayes, Zarthus said, his voice now clear and resonant. You have created a system of perfect efficiency, not by adding complexity, but by removing it. You have proven that a simple solution is the best one. Do you know how much paperwork this saves me? About 3 tons a year by my estimate, Brendan smiled. Perfect. Zarthus stood up, straightening his robes, which now seemed less formal and more functional. The station is now the galactic center for streamlined operations. You are the director. Your methodology will be known as Hayes's Law of Practicality, and I am having another cup of coffee. As the now eager Grand Overseer and his delegation began sketching out plans for the debureaucratization of the galaxy, Brendan leaned back in his chair. Well, Persephone, he said, looking out at the distant, glittering blue of his home Earth. That worked out.
It did. I am adding revolutionary efficiency management to your list of achievements and existential crisis averted to Zarthus's file. I also took the liberty of adding a tiny discreet bow to my internal icon.
Brendan took a final sip of his perfect coffee, the quantum field humming with quiet satisfaction. He had survived the catastrophic evacuation and revolutionized interstellar bureaucracy, all thanks to an urgent need and a stubborn refusal to accept alien incompetence. He finally understood the great cosmic joke. The greatest catastrophe is not when things break, but when they are designed to fail. For the simplest answer, found by the least expected soul, often corrects the most complicated lie.